Change your standards and your life will change. There exists an invisible boundary in your life, a silent threshold that governs what you accept, what you tolerate, and what you allow to persist. This boundary isn't shaped by your aspirations, your declarations, or your fleeting intentions. It's your standard, the unspoken code revealed through your actions, choices, and the behaviors you consistently uphold, especially in moments when no one is watching. Your standard defines the quality of your existence, from how you treat yourself to the outcomes you produce. It's not about what you hope to achieve or the goals you vocalize. It's about what you demand of yourself day in and day out, in the quiet, unglamorous moments that shape your destiny. If you've ever found yourself trapped in repetitive cycles, approaching success only to fall back, struggling to sustain new habits, or surrounded by the same unfulfilling people or situations, the root cause is often unchanged standards. You might proclaim a desire for change, set lofty goals, or dream of a transformed life. But without elevating your standards, those ambitions remain elusive. You don't receive what you wish for. You receive what you tolerate. You don't achieve your dreams, you achieve what your standards enforce. It's easy to harbor grand hopes or jot down ambitious plans, but until your core expectations shift, your life remains anchored to the same baseline. Consider two individuals facing identical challenges with similar resources. One rises, overcoming obstacles to build lasting success, while the other falters, repeating familiar patterns. The difference isn't luck, talent, or opportunity, it's their standards. The successful person has conditioned themselves to expect more, act with intention, and reject mediocrity. Not just in moments of inspiration, but consistently. Their standard is their compass, guiding their habits, decisions, and results in ways that compound over time, creating a life that others admire, but few emulate. Your standards aren't defined by your words. They're exposed by your actions. When the going gets tough, when convenience fades, or when no one's there to hold you accountable, in those defining moments, your true standard shines through, determining whether you grow, stagnate, or regress. The empowering truth? Your standards are not fixed. They're not carved in stone or bound to your past mistakes. You can choose to elevate them today, declaring that what you've accepted before is no longer sufficient. When you make that choice and live it authentically, everything shifts. Your habits, confidence, relationships, and results align with the person you're capable of becoming. Raising your standards doesn't merely spark change, it makes transformation. Inevitable, rewiring your life from the inside out. The power of standards. Your life's thermostat, your standard operates like a thermostat, setting the baseline temperature of your life. You might experience a temporary spike, a career breakthrough, a fitness milestone, or a financial windfall. But if your internal standard hasn't risen, you'll revert to your default setting. This is why lottery winners often squander their wealth, why people regain weight after a diet, or why promising ventures collapse. The external result changed, but the internal standard didn't evolve. Your identity, beliefs, and expectations must align with your achievements, or you'll unconsciously sabotage your progress, drifting back to what feels familiar. You cannot consistently outperform your standards. A surge of motivation or willpower might propel you beyond them briefly, but without a rewired identity, you'll fall back. This invisible trap ensnares countless people. They improve just enough to taste their potential, but fail to anchor the new level. They question their worth, thinking, maybe I'm not cut out for this. When the reality is simpler, they haven't elevated their baseline. To sustain change, you must redefine who you are, proclaiming that old habits, excuses, inconsistency, settling are no longer acceptable. This isn't about chasing fleeting goals. It's about transforming your identity so that your actions flow naturally from your new standard. Your standard determines your life's floor, not just its ceiling. Many fixate on how high they can soar, but the critical question is, how low am I willing to sink? Your baseline, what you consider normal, shapes your average, not your occasional peaks. If your baseline tolerates chaos, distraction, or half-hearted effort, moments of brilliance won't endure. You'll crumble under the weight of what you've built because your foundation lacks the strength to sustain it. But when your standard embodies excellence, consistency, and integrity. You don't just aim high, you live high. Your habits, environment, and relationships align with this baseline, making sustained progress feel effortless, not forced. Why standards matter. Standards are the invisible force behind every aspect of your life. They dictate the quality of your health, the depth of your relationships, the success of your career, and the peace in your mind. Low standards permit procrastination, toxic connections, and neglected well-being, creating a life of frustration and missed potential. High standards demand discipline, respect, and growth, fostering a life of purpose and fulfillment. Your standards shape your reality by filtering what you allow and what you reject, acting as both a gatekeeper and a catalyst for change. Consider the ripple effect of low standards. If you tolerate clutter in your home, it breeds mental chaos, sapping your focus. If you accept disrespect in relationships, it erodes your self-worth, attracting more of the same. If you settle for minimal effort at work, opportunities pass you by, reinforcing a cycle of stagnation. Conversely, high standards create a virtuous cycle. Demanding a tidy space enhances clarity, insisting on mutual respect builds healthy bonds, and committing to excellence at work opens doors to advancement. Your standards don't just reflect your life, they create it. The gap between where you are and where you want to be often stems from a mismatch in standards. You might dream of financial freedom but tolerate impulsive spending. You might crave fitness but accept skipped workouts. You might long for meaningful connections but settle for one-sided relationships. These contradictions reveal a truth. Your life mirrors your standards, not your desires. To close the gap, you must elevate what you expect of yourself, refusing to accept less than what aligns with your vision. The psychology of standards. Your standards are deeply tied to your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are. If you see yourself as someone who's always late, you'll act accordingly, reinforcing that standard. If you view yourself as disciplined and reliable, your actions will align, strengthening that identity. This self-fulfilling cycle explains why change is hard. Your brain seeks consistency with your existing identity, resisting shifts that feel unfamiliar. Raising your standards requires rewiring this narrative, convincing your mind that a new version of you is not only possible but already real. Your subconscious plays a key role. It operates on evidence, cataloging your actions to define normal. If you repeatedly skip commitments, your brain logs this as your standard, making it harder to change. But each time you act in alignment with a higher standard, completing a task, honoring a promise, or rejecting an excuse, you provide new evidence, reprogramming your subconscious. Over time, these actions become automatic as your brain accepts the elevated standard as your new default. Resistance is inevitable. When you raise your standards, your mind may push back, whispering, "This isn't you," or "You'll fail." This is your old identity fighting to survive, craving the safety of the known. Recognize this voice as a signal of growth, not a barrier. Act despite it, proving to yourself that you're no longer bound by past limits. For example, if you're raising your standard for punctuality, arrive 5 minutes early to one meeting. Each small victory weakens the resistance, anchoring your new identity. How to raise your standards, a step-by-step guide. Raising your standards is a deliberate process, requiring clarity, action, and persistence. It's not a one-time event, but a daily commitment to live differently. Below is a comprehensive guide to elevate your standards and transform your life, with practical steps and examples to ensure lasting change. Step 1. Confront your current reality. Transformation begins with honesty. Pause and examine your life without judgment or excuses. Look at your patterns. What do you tolerate that doesn't serve you? Where do you settle for less than you deserve? Identify specific areas: health, work, relationships, finances, or personal growth, and ask, is this who I want to be? For instance, if you're frustrated by constant procrastination, acknowledge it. I've been delaying tasks, and it's holding me back. This self-awareness reveals the gap between your current self and your potential, igniting the desire to change. Write down what you've been accepting. List behaviors like skipping workouts, staying in draining friendships, or settling for minimal effort at work. Be specific. This clarity is your starting point. The discomfort of seeing your patterns isn't a punishment. It's an invitation to rise. Embrace it as a call to action, a chance to claim the life you're meant. And 4. Step 2. Make a defining decision change hinges on a clear, non-negotiable decision. I'm done living this way. This isn't a vague wish, it's a commitment to a new identity. Declare what you'll no longer tolerate and what you now demand. For example, say, I no longer accept procrastination, I'm someone who acts promptly. Or, I refuse to tolerate disrespect, I demand mutual respect in all relationships. This decision draws a line in the sand, separating your past from your future. Make it personal and vivid. Instead of, I want to be healthier, say, I'm someone who prioritizes my body's strength every day. Write this declaration down and place it somewhere visible, your desk, mirror, or phone. Revisit it daily to reinforce your resolve. This choice isn't about perfection. It's about setting a new minimum, a floor below which you refuse to sink in. Step 3. Act immediately to prove it. A decision without action is hollow. Your brain needs evidence to believe the change is real. So take one immediate step that aligns with your new standard. If you've decided to prioritize health, go for a 10-minute walk now. If you're raising your work ethic, tackle a delayed task today. If you're done tolerating clutter, organize one drawer this moment. These small acts send a powerful message to your subconscious. This is who I am now. Action doesn't need to be grand, it needs to be intentional. For example, if your new standard is financial discipline, skip one impulsive purchase today and log the savings. Each step stacks, building momentum and rewiring your identity. The key is to act now, not when you feel ready. Waiting for the perfect moment keeps you stuck. Acting despite doubt moves you forward. Step 4. Build a system to sustain. A new standard requires structure to endure. Motivation is fleeting, and life will test your commitment with distractions, setbacks, and fatigue. Create a system, habits, routines, and environments that makes your standard easy to uphold. Systems reduce reliance on willpower, embedding your standard into your daily life. Here's how to build one. Establish daily habits. Identify 1 or 2 habits that reinforce your standard. If you're raising your productivity standard, commit to 25-minute focused work sessions, Pomodoro technique, each morning. If it's health, drink a glass of water upon waking and walk 10 minutes daily. Start small to ensure consistency. Design your environment. Remove triggers for old habits and add cues for new ones. If you're cutting distractions, silence your phone during work hours and keep it out of sight. If you're prioritizing fitness, place dumbbells by your desk and prep workout clothes the night before. A supportive environment makes good choices effortless. Schedule your standard. Block time for your priorities. If your standard is learning, dedicate 15 minutes each evening to reading or a course. If it's relationships, schedule weekly calls with loved ones. A calendar protects your standard from life's chaos. Track progress. Use a journal, app, or calendar to mark each day you uphold your standard. For example, if you're building discipline, check off each completed task. Seeing a streak, 5 days, 10 days, builds momentum and accountability. For instance, if your new standard is, I'm someone who communicates clearly, create a system. Write one clear email daily. Keep a notebook for drafting thoughts and schedule 10 minutes to review communication goals weekly. Remove distractions like unnecessary notifications and surround yourself with clear communicators. This system ensures your standard isn't a wish, it's a reality. Step 5. Surround yourself with elevators. Your standards align with those around you. If you're surrounded by people who settle, complain, or normalize mediocrity, your resolve will waver. Seek out individuals who challenge you to be better, friends, mentors, or communities who embody high standards. For example, If you're raising your financial discipline, connect with people who prioritize budgeting and investing, perhaps through a financial planning group. If you're pursuing fitness, join a running club or gym community. If such a circle doesn't exist, be your own elevator. Hold yourself accountable with daily check-ins. Did I honor my standard today? Journal your progress or share goals with a trusted friend. I'm committing to daily writing. Can you check in weekly? Over time, your elevated standard will attract like-minded people. Those who don't match it, chronic complainers, excuse makers, or energy drainers, will naturally fade away. This isn't rejection, it's clarity. Your standard deserves a circle that reinforces it, not undermines it. Step 6. Commit daily to your standard. Raising your standards isn't a one-off event, it's a daily recommitment. Life will test you with stress, doubt, and temptation, urging you to revert to old patterns. A single bad day can spiral into a week if you're not vigilant. Reinforce your standard through consistent action, even when it's tough. If you slip, skipping a workout or snapping at a loved one, don't spiral into shame. Reset, reflect, and act again. For example, if you miss a writing session, write one sentence the next day to rebuild the habit. Create rituals to stay connected to your standard. Each morning, review your declaration. I'm someone who follows through. At night, reflect, where did I uphold my standard? Where can I improve? These moments of intention keep your standard front and center, preventing drift. If external pressures mount, a demanding job or family crisis, scale your actions to fit the season. If you can't run an hour, walk 10 minutes. If you can't write a chapter, jot down one idea. Small acts maintain your baseline, ensuring you never fully backslide. Step 7. Embrace and overcome. Resistance, raising your standards, invites resistance, both internal and external. Internally, your mind may rebel, whispering, "This isn't you. You'll fail," or "It's too late." This is your old identity clinging to familiarity, fearing the discomfort of growth. Recognize this voice as a sign you're pushing past your limits, not a reason to retreat. Act despite the doubt, proving to yourself that fear doesn't control you. For instance, if you're raising your standard for public speaking, practice. One sentence aloud, despite nerves. Each action chips away at resistance, rewiring your mind for courage. Externally, resistance may come from others. Friends might question your new habits, feeling threatened by your growth. Why are you so serious now? Colleagues might mock your discipline, labeling you obsessive. Stay firm. Your standard isn't about their comfort. It's about your evolution. Set boundaries. I'm focused on my goals. Let's talk about something else. If resistance persists, limit time with those who undermine you. As you uphold your standard, your environment will shift, attracting those who respect and match your energy. Resistance isn't a flaw. It's a feature of growth. Each time you push through, you strengthen your resolve, making your standard more resilient. View it as a workout. The burn signals progress, not failure. Celebrate small victories over resistance, like completing a task despite procrastination or speaking up despite fear. These wins build a foundation for lasting change. Step 8. Cultivate self-respect and power. Raising your standards transforms more than your outcomes. It reshapes who you are. The external rewards, improved health, stronger relationships, career growth, are significant, but the internal rewards are profound. Chief among them is self-respect, born from keeping promises to yourself. When you consistently act in alignment with your standard, showing up, following through, rejecting excuses, you build a quiet confidence, rooted not in external praise but in integrity. You trust yourself to deliver, knowing you're who you say you are. This self-respect unlocks power. You stop seeking validation, no longer bending your standard to fit others' expectations. You embrace your right to want more, to be more, without apology. For example, if your standard demands respectful relationships, you'll walk away from those who belittle you, not out of arrogance, but clarity. This power was always within you, waiting to be activated by a higher standard. It's not about control over others, but mastery over yourself. a strength that radiates into every area of your life. Self-respect also frees you from comparison. You no longer measure your worth against others' highlight reels, focusing instead on your alignment with your standard. This shift brings peace, as you judge success by your effort, not external markers. For instance, if your standard is daily, in learning, completing a chapter feels like a win, regardless of others' accolades. This internal compass keeps you grounded, ensuring your standard drives your growth, not fleeting trends or opinions. Transforming your life. The ripple effect. When you live with elevated standards, your life becomes a reflection of your inner shift. Your habits become automatic. Exercise, focus, or gratitude feel as natural as breathing. Your relationships transform because you attract people who respect your boundaries and share your values. You no longer tolerate one-sided connections, drama, or disrespect, creating space for mutual growth. For example, if your standard demands honesty, you'll gravitate toward transparent friends and partners, fostering deeper bonds. Your environment evolves to support your evolution. You stop lingering in spaces that drain you, cluttered rooms, toxic workplaces, or negative online forums. Instead, you design your surroundings for growth, a tidy desk for focus, a gym membership for health, or a quiet corner for reflection. Your time becomes sacred, no longer squandered on distractions. You say no to misaligned commitments, reserving energy for what fuels your mission. For instance, if your standard is productivity, you'll swap mindless scrolling for skill building or meaningful conversations. Your influence grows organically. Without preaching, your consistency and clarity inspire others. Colleagues notice your discipline, adopting similar habits. Friends admire your focus, asking for advice. You become a leader, not by title, but by example, raising the standard in every room you enter. This ripple effect extends beyond you. Your children emulate your work ethic, your community benefits from your clarity, and your legacy becomes one of impact and integrity. Confronting the truth. The foundation of change, raising your standards, demands brutal honesty. Most people remain stuck because they dodge the truth, blaming external factors, time, resources, or luck, while ignoring their role. High performers face reality head-on, not to berate themselves, but to build something real. Ask, where am I settling? Where am I lying to myself? If you're inconsistent, own it. I've prioritized comfort over progress. If your relationships drain you, admit, I've tolerated toxicity too long. Owning the truth empowers you to change it. This honesty sparks self-awareness, illuminating patterns you once ignored. You notice when you're slipping, procrastinating, snapping at loved ones, or neglecting self-care, and correct course without shame. For example, if you catch yourself skipping workouts, pause, acknowledge it, and do 5 push-ups to realign. This discipline builds self-respect, proving you're committed to your standard, not fleeting emotions. Honesty also means celebrating progress. Acknowledge where you're upholding your standard, completing tasks, setting boundaries, or showing up despite doubt. Write down 3 wins daily. I worked out, I said no to a distraction, or I communicated clearly. This practice reinforces your identity, balancing self-critique with self-recognition. Truth isn't just about exposing flaws, it's about owning your growth, ensuring your standard evolves with you. Sustaining your standard, long-term strategies. Make your elevated standard permanent. Integrate it into every facet of your life. This requires vigilance, as life's pressures, stress, setbacks, or complacency can erode your resolve. Below are strategies to sustain your standard over the long term, ensuring it becomes your unshakable default. Daily check-ins. Make your standard a daily touchstone. Each morning, review your declaration. I'm someone who follows through with excellence. At night, reflect. Where did I uphold my standard? Where can I improve? These moments of intention keep your standard alive, preventing drift. Use a journal to track your answers, noting patterns over time. For example, if you notice frequent procrastination, adjust your system. Break tasks into smaller steps or schedule them earlier. Rituals and routines. Build rituals to anchor your standard. Start your day with a 5-minute meditation to set intentions. Today, I act with purpose. End with gratitude, listing 3 things you did well. I completed my work, ate healthily, and listened to a friend. These rituals reinforce your identity, making your standard a habit. Incorporate cues, like a motivational quote on your fridge or a workout playlist, to trigger action. Consistency turns intention into instinct. Adapt to seasons' lives. Seasons vary. Busy work periods, family demands, or personal crises require flexibility. If your standard is daily exercise but a hectic week limits you, scale down to a 10-minute stretch instead of skipping entirely. If your standard is learning, but travel disrupts your routine, listen to a podcast. Scaling maintains your baseline, ensuring you never abandon your standard, even in tough times. Accountability systems enlist accountability to stay on track. Share your standard with a friend. I'm committing to daily writing. Check. In weekly. Join a group aligned with your goals, a book club for learning, a gym for fitness, or a mastermind for career growth. Public commitment strengthens resolve, as does feedback from those who share your values. If you slip, their support helps you reset, not spiral. Regular reviews. Conduct weekly or monthly reviews to assess your standard. Ask, am I living at the level I set? What's working? What needs adjustment? For example, if your standard is financial discipline, but you overspent, identify triggers, impulse buys, or social pressure, and adjust. Set a stricter budget or avoid tempting environments. These reviews keep your standard dynamic, evolving with your goals and circumstances. Celebrate milestones. Acknowledge progress to fuel motivation. Set milestones tied to your standard. 30 days of consistent workouts, 3 months of focused work, or a year of healthy boundaries. Celebrate with meaningful rewards, a new book, a relaxing day, or a special meal. For instance, if your standard is daily learning and you complete a course, treat yourself to a workshop. Celebration reinforces your identity, making your standard a source of pride. Overcoming common obstacles. Raising your standards isn't a straight path. Obstacles will test your commitment. Below are common challenges and strategies to overcome them, ensuring your standard remains intact. Fatigue and burnout. High standards demand effort, which can lead to exhaustion. Prevent burnout by prioritizing rest as part of your standard. Schedule downtime, naps, walks, or tech-free evenings to recharge. If fatigue hits, scale your actions. Instead of a full workout, stretch for 10 minutes. Recognize rest as strength, not weakness, ensuring you sustain your standard long-term. External pressure. Others may resist your growth, urging you to relax or conform. If friends mock your discipline, explain, "This is important to me," and limit time with them if they persist. If work demands compromise your standard, like skipping self-care, set boundaries. Block an hour for exercise or meditation. Protect your standard as fiercely as you protect your time, ensuring external pressures don't derail you. Self-doubt. Doubt creeps in, whispering, "You're not enough." Counter it with evidence. List past wins where you upheld your standard, like completing a project or setting a boundary. Affirm your identity. I'm someone who grows through challenges. If doubt overwhelms, take one small action. Write a sentence, do a push-up to break the cycle. Action silences doubt, reinforcing your standard. Setbacks. Slips happen, missing a goal, reverting to old habits, or facing failure. Treat setbacks as data, not defeat. Reflect, what caused this? How can I adjust? If you skip a workout, due to overscheduling, plan shorter sessions, or wake earlier. Reset immediately with a small action to maintain momentum. Setbacks test your standard. Use them to strengthen it, not abandon it. The ripple effect, transforming your world. Elevating your standards reshapes every corner of your life, creating a ripple effect that extends beyond you. Below are the transformative impacts across key areas: illustrating how a higher standard redefines your reality. Health and well-being. A standard of health demands consistent nutrition, movement, and rest, leading to sustained energy and resilience. You prioritize whole foods, daily walks, and 8 hours of sleep, not as chores but as non-negotiables. Over time, you feel stronger, think clearer, and handle stress better. For example, if your standard is, I nourish my body, you'll meal prep weekly and schedule workouts, resulting in improved fitness and mental clarity. Relationships. High standards in relationships foster mutual respect and growth. You no longer tolerate toxicity, one-sided effort, or disrespect, attracting people who align with your values. If your standard is, I cultivate honest connections, you'll communicate openly, set boundaries, and invest in those who reciprocate. This creates deeper, more fulfilling bonds, whether with friends, family, or partners. Career and finances. A standard of excellence at work drives consistent effort, skill building, and initiative, opening doors to promotions, raises, or entrepreneurial success. If your standard is, I deliver my best, you'll arrive prepared, meet deadlines, and seek feedback, earning respect and opportunities. In finances, a standard of discipline, saving 10% of income, avoiding debt, investing wisely, builds wealth over time, replacing stress with security. Personal growth. A standard of growth commits you to lifelong learning and self-improvement. You read daily, take courses, or reflect on experiences, not for accolades but for evolution. If your standard is, I learn every day, you'll dedicate 15 minutes to a book or podcast, accumulating knowledge that compounds into expertise. This growth fuels confidence as you become someone who thrives on progress. Influence and legacy. Your elevated standard inspires others without effort. Your discipline motivates colleagues to step up. Your clarity encourages friends to set goals, and your integrity sets a model for your children or community. If your standard is I lead by example, your actions, showing up, keeping promises, staying calm under pressure, become a beacon, influencing others to raise their own standards. Your legacy becomes one of impact, proving that one person's commitment can change the world around them. Living your standard, a new normal as you live your elevated standard. What once felt hard becomes natural. Discipline no longer requires effort. It's who you are. Excellence isn't a goal, it's your default. You don't struggle to say no to distractions or toxic people. It's instinctive as your standard filters what enters your life. This shift doesn't mean life gets easier, challenges persist, but it gets clearer. You see what you once tolerated, recognize wasted time, and refuse to compromise your growth for comfort. This clarity brings freedom. You're no longer swayed by fleeting emotions or external opinions, making decisions based on your identity, not your mood. If stress tempts you to skip a commitment, your standard reminds you, I show up no matter what. If others question your ambition, your standard affirms, I'm built for more. This alignment creates a life of purpose, where every action moves you closer to your potential. Your call to action. Start today. Today is the moment to raise your standard. Begin with honesty. Examine one area of your life, health, work, relationships, or growth, and ask, what am I tolerating that doesn't align with my potential? Write it down. I've accepted procrastination, or I've tolerated disrespect. Decide to change it. I no longer delay. I act with purpose, or I demand respect in all interactions. Take one immediate action to prove it. Write 100 words, eat a healthy meal, or set a boundary. Build a system to sustain it. Schedule a daily habit, clear one distraction, or find an accountability partner. Commit to checking in tomorrow. Did I honor my standard? You already know what to do. You don't need more information, a perfect plan, or ideal conditions. You need a higher standard. This choice unlocks your potential, forcing you to evolve, eliminating excuses, and making quitting unthinkable. Your life is waiting to reflect the person you're capable of becoming. Draw the line, raise the bar, and don't look back. Your new standard isn't just a change, It's a revolution, and it starts now. Sustaining the revolution. Long-term commitment. Raising your standard is a lifelong journey, not a destination. As you grow, your standard must evolve, adapting to new goals, challenges, and seasons. Below are advanced strategies to ensure your standard remains a dynamic force, propelling you toward ever greater heights. Evolve your standard as you achieve milestones, raise the bar higher. If your initial standard was daily exercise, evolve it to include strength training or a marathon. If it was financial discipline, shift from saving to investing or building multiple income streams. Regularly assess, what's the next level? For me, this evolution prevents complacency, ensuring your standard drives continuous growth. Teach your standard, share your journey with others, not to boast but to inspire. Mentor a colleague, guide a friend, or write about your process. Teaching reinforces your commitment as you model the standard you've set. For example, if your standard is resilience, share how you overcame a setback, encouraging others to persevere. This act deepens your identity and extends your impact. Integrate across all areas, apply your standard holistically: health, relationships, career, spirituality, and personal growth. If your standard is excellence, ensure it permeates every domain. Eat well, communicate kindly, work diligently, pray intentionally, and learn constantly. This integration creates a cohesive life, where no area lags behind, amplifying your overall impact. Anticipate future challenges. Prepare for inevitable obstacles, major life changes, losses, or unexpected crises. Build resilience now by practicing under pressure. Stick to your standard during a busy week or after a disappointment. Create contingency plans. If travel disrupts your routine, pack resistance bands for workouts or download audiobooks for learning. Anticipation ensures your standard withstands any storm. Cultivate a growth mindset, embrace challenges as opportunities to strengthen your standard. A growth mindset, believing you can improve through effort, keeps you adaptable. If you fail to meet your standard, ask, what can I learn? Instead of, why did I fail? This perspective turns setbacks into stepping stones, ensuring your standard evolves with each experience. The legacy of your standard, your elevated standard, is more than personal. It's a legacy. It shapes not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Your children inherit your discipline, learning to persevere through your example. Your colleagues adopt your work ethic, elevating their own performance. Your community benefits from your clarity as you contribute with purpose and integrity. This legacy isn't about fame or wealth, it's about impact, proving that one person's commitment to excellence can ripple outward, changing the world. Your standard also frees you. It liberates you from doubt, fear, and the need for approval, anchoring you in self-respect and purpose. You become unstoppable, not because life is easy, but because your standard is unshakable. Every challenge becomes a chance to prove your strength, every setback a moment to rise. This freedom is your greatest reward, a life lived on your terms, aligned with your highest potential. Final reflections. Raising your standard is a radical act of self-ownership. It's a refusal to settle, a commitment to growth, and a declaration that you're worth more. It's not about perfection but progress, not about external validation but internal alignment. Every time you choose your standard over comfort, you rewrite your story, building a life that reflects your deepest values. The journey won't be easy. You'll face resistance, doubt, and moments where quitting feels tempting. But each time, you uphold your standard, acting despite fear, resetting after a slip, or saying no to mediocrity. You forge a stronger version of yourself. This version doesn't shrink, doesn't settle, and doesn't apologize for wanting more. It leads, executes, and thrives, not for applause, but for the quiet pride of knowing you've honored your potential. Your standard is your power. It's the key to unlocking the life you've always sensed was possible. It's the force that turns dreams into reality, potential into action, and struggle into triumph. Raise it today, live it every day, and watch as your life transforms into a masterpiece of your own making. The world is waiting for the person you're becoming. Step into that truth and never look back.